So hello YouTube, kind of got a couple of reviews for you, but not just normal reviews. I'm going to be reviewing this, the TROJAN 360mm, obviously cutting edge on there. Whoa. Beautiful saw, straight edge. Kind of, at the price of this point, the price of this saw comes with the classic sheath. It's a lovely sheath. It will go in right or left, although you have got the thumb stud on the right side. It'll go in left side, so left, right hand carry really. You can carry it either. Beautiful sheath. And the benefits of having this saw over kind of the smaller 180 Noble, this is a great little saw. Folding saw, and this will be the most common one. This will fit in your packs all day long for splitting a bit of firewood. Lanyard loop, you can just see them teeth come through there, and I've seen a lot of saws do that, and I think it's the curvature that they give you on this. If you look at it, it's got that lovely hook on there. All these saws will cut on the back pull, so just bear that in mind for when you're doing bushcraft projects with any kind of, a lot of the pruning saws, gardening saws, or even professional cutlery saws like these are, the chainsaws, you know, they all cut on a back pull. And I had a hand saw that I'd bought a few years ago, that, you know, a hand chainsaw. I could never understand why it wouldn't work in both ways, but then I read the instructions and it was, funnily enough, would only cut on a back stroke. So I think they do them, they cut both ways now when you're sawing away. But going back onto these make light work of kind of any bushcraft project. High carbon steel blades on both of these. I've had them for quite a while. I did a really good test on both of them. Razor sharp, high carbon steel. You're gonna have to look after these. A little bit of spray with some WD-40. I've got that here, you know, and away you go. And it also helps you stop getting a build-up of resin. This time of the year the sap is rising, so extra care on your tools, you know, including your knife, is a must. That sap, unfortunately, although it got many uses, yeah, it's very damaging for our tools, and it can really start rust there. So yeah, we're going to give these a good test. I don't really need to do a good test because I've already done a good test, but it's to show you that they work, if you know what I mean. I've had to take down a willow tree at the back of mine. It's still growing, and I've done everything with these. In this is taking down stuff kind of, you know, good 10 inches in diameter, you know. The willow tree is just growing all over the shop, so we're going to cut down some more. I am trying to save everything that I can off the willow, not to waste the wood. I've got the TP with a burner in it, so I can burn a load of it. It sticks and all that are just going for bushcraft projects, making pegs, and you know, I've made a whole bow drill set and all types of other stuff, hammers and some bits. Now I'm going to make a few stakes for the garden, and trying to get the garden looking half decent here. It's a bit difficult where I live on a mountain, and yeah, that's the next thing for us to do. So yeah, we'll crack on. We're going to get on with some bushcraft projects using our saws. We'll try and talk about them as we're going along during the video, and tell me what you think. You know, they were sent to me for review, a non-biased review if you like, and I'd say I've had them for a while. I've not even had an email from these guys. CEuk, sorry, sent them to me. I've not even had an email pressuring me to do the review, which is absolutely fantastic. It means that you can get on, do a proper test on them, take them into the environments that you're used to. These have been camping with me now, and cutting my wood for my TP stove, and they've been fantastic. So it's been nice to be able to do a full, you know, kind of test before I review them. And mine's looking a bit sad at the moment. It needs probably a bit cleaning up. So yeah, let's look at some projects with them. So yeah, looking at some little projects, bushcraft projects. The benefits of the flat saw, you know, this is my block. This is a wooden block, and basically straight edge saw, no curvature. The real benefit of that is that even on a block, without banging your knuckles all over the shop, you can do many bushcraft projects, you know. Always cutting on the back pull with ease, and you can see that quite easily achieves that. You can achieve that with the Noble, there's no problems there as well, and it just takes a little bit more. You've got a smaller blade. When I look at the two, you know, the teeth are pretty well much exactly the same, and just like I say, that it's, you know, double the blade size, if you like, nearly. So this saw will achieve that. So don't think if you know, if you've only got a small Noble, you can't do these projects. You can. Just takes a bit longer. This is a forest saw, you know. This is kind of a small pruning saw, back saw. This Noble will probably be the most popular one for the bushcrafters because it fits in your pack. You know, like I say, this is going to take some planning to get in your pack, and I know which one I prefer to take, you know. Just to have that, you know, the more teeth you've got on the saw, the easier the job is, and the bigger bigger stuff you can cut for your firewood. And after, you know, using this type of folding saw for a long time, you realise the huge benefit of that. I've got a buck saw as well, but I still prefer this. I think it's a far better cut, and can quite easily do, you know, a lot of logging work. It is a forestry saw, professional forestry saw. So just bearing in mind it's you know, a professional saw, but I don't think you're paying top professional money, which is what I like about these saws. So as many of you kind of will know in the bushcraft community, I suppose, but not so much in the kind of, I suppose, gardening world, would know that we kind of make mallets, and these can be handy, you know, not only for batonging or knives and bits and bobs, for knocking in wedges, banging in posts, you know, banging in certainly gardening pegs, all types of stuff. They're just a really handy tool to have around the, you know, around your garden. They're a handy tool to have out in the woods, and it's one of the first things I try to make when I'm on an extended camping trip. Basically, it gives you a hammer. That's what it basically is giving you. It's very simple to make, and you know, takes a few minutes to make. I would say to the gardeners that are watching this, you know, there's going to be a few gardeners that will tune in because of the product, you know, being the pruning saws, is that these are really handy things around the garden. I've got a couple here made up. You know, this nice heavy one, it's been great, and you can see it's kind of well used. And obviously this is a smaller one, brilliant for kind of knocking in your pegs, you know, pegs that you make for your lines and all types of stuff, especially if you've got an allotment. So we're going to make one of them. You will at some point, you will need a knife for making these projects. You don't need an expensive knife. This obviously is a bushcraft knife, you know, Scandinavian grind, TSB bore, if for anyone who's interested in the bushcraft world. It's not a bad knife, it's, you know, it's a good knife. I've done a few little conversions on it, and it's a lot better than what it was, if you like. And you will need a knife for a lot of these projects, unless you're going to use your axe, or, you know, you can use a pruning knife for these projects if you've got a pruning knife. I haven't got a pruning knife for it, so I would have used one. So if anyone knows of a good pruning knife, I'd certainly be interested in getting one for the garden. So let's have a look at making one of these. We are going to need a saw for this, and you can use either, and we are going to need a length of wood, you know, just a plain length of wood like this. We're going to literally do a cut around this, not all the way through, and literally, you know, put my knife away before it takes my finger off. My knives are very sharp. The only safe place for them is in their holster. So what I want to do is about hand width, because that's where I want the handle of this to be. So if I come this way, move everything around on the block, I want to be about a hand's width on there, and I need to just then cut. I don't want to cut right through the wood, and on these saws you've got to be a bit careful because they're very powerful saws. And I just rotate this, and I keep rotating the root, my bit of wood. Now this is where you normally find, for some reason, it never adds up, and mine's pretty good. This time it has added up, but normally when you go around you find that it doesn't join. You think, what happened there? Why did it go like that? So I saw it a little bit. That'll do. You can see that the saw's done most of the work. This wood has got knots in it and all types of stuff, so we're going to split it and we'll have a look at it. So we put the wood on the end. You could use an axe now for this, but let me raise you up a bit. So that's it. So I do need to split a bit of wood here now. So obviously, if I hadn't got anything to bang that with, I could just use a stick or a bit of wood. I've got one of my hammers already made. I'm going to make another one. And I start splitting this out. And I split it down. All the way. Take that out. Nope. A little bit more. What I don't want to do is trick all the split. That off there. That off there. So I've got to that stage, and now it's a simple case then of just shaving it out to give you a circular or a round platform. And it really is as simple as that, and I can use my block for that. There is a knot in this one, so that's going to be a bit more challenging, but once I shave this off, which is what I'm doing, shave this down as best I can. There we are, neaten it up. Knife into the chest. There's little cool little cuts you can do. There we are. Then bring this back. And there we have our handy little dandy, our little hammer, handy piece of kit to have with you even in the garden. These mallets are really worth their weight and gold, if you like. Once again, using the saw, the knife, easily achieved, took me a few seconds. You can do them as good as you want. I mean, I got a couple of friends that, you know, go and varnish them and make the handles perfect on them, and they look great. So just experiment. The wood I'm using is all kind of reclaimed, this willow that I've been cutting down. I didn't want to waste any of it, so I've got a pile of it to use up with, you know, and just all different bushcraft projects. So we'll make a couple of pegs now, and show you the pegs and how easy it is to make yourself a couple of good pegs. So giving you an example, this needs a lot of work done, and taking down a massive willow tree. You know, I'm kind of cutting it up now. I'm going to try and keep the as much as I can for my projects. Just filming this on the SJ cam, a little bit more better for these type of shots. A lot of cleaning up to do up here, a lot of work to do up here. But like I say, being on the side of a mountain is a pain. my wood pile, bits and bobs, camera gear. Saw all that kind of using the Nesmic today, and I'm going to carve a couple of pegs to finish this video off. I'm going to roll in a bit of footage before I do that, I think now, of me using the big saw, and I'll kind of let you see what it's capable of. So carving the pegs, you know, a tent peg or any kind of pegs, once again, you could do this with your knife using the beaver cut around, and I'll often show that, but when you have a saw, it's going to use the 180 on this, the little Noble. It's not going to be a perfect peg, but it will be good enough. Nice sharp saw. Come in. I'm just going to round this off a minute, cut through it. Don't want this peg too long. Let the saw do the work. The benefit of having these non-curved saws, you know, you can use them on the block, which is ideal. That's why a lot of bushcraft projects, like I said before, on these blocks is you need these straight edge cuts. Brilliant. So what I do with this now is I want to cut like you would a V into this. You're going to cut a V because this is what's going to start making your peg. So you can do it however you feel confident with. So I've literally cut that notch. I'm going to cut that out now. There. You can see now that I've already got the makings of a peg. That's obviously where my line would get put into. Because I'm going to hammer this, and I may need to hammer this in, I need to take off the edge of that. Now normally we would use our bushcraft knife just to chamfer off that edge, but what you can do, the back edges of these saws are often very sharp, and that is sufficient just to take away that edge. So when I whack this in, it doesn't split, the peg won't split. Yeah. To give you an example of how sharp these are, these work great for your ferrocerium rods, by the way. Probably a lot better than your knife will. So, clean that off. So for anyone who didn't know, that's one of my little tricks that I use to save my knife, the back edge of my knife. I use the saw blade, it works brilliant. So I do need to put a point on this. There's several ways I could do this. I could use a pruning knife or my bushcraft knife or any form of knife. If I've only got a saw, I can literally cut kind of 3 cuts on the bottom of this to make a point on it. It takes a bit longer because I'm not cutting, I'm cutting with the grain, so it comes out like quite powdery. I'm trying to keep it in camera shot for you guys to see. We are through. And you can see I would repeat that again to put a point on it. But of course, if you've got your knife, it's even easier. We can quite easily then put a point on it. We don't want to put a major point on it, kind of a bullet point, and that's enough because we don't want it splitting. And that gives us quite a good peg for the garden or for, for when we're camping. You use these on the allotments a lot. In fact, my friend who had quite a big allotment used to kind of ask me when I was out in the woods with a bit of hazel to make him, 50 or 60 of these pegs. And I'd be quite happy sat at the campfire doing a few of these for him. And you can do quite a lot when you get your rhythm going and you get a long length and off you go. And that's where you see the benefits of using the saw to make that cut and not your knife when you're doing a vast amount. So there you are. That's it. That is our peg system. Hey. So one of my subscribers did ask, he's getting himself the hatchet, the universal hatchet, and does he really need to also invest in a saw? And it's a good question for any bushcraft guy. Saws, especially a folding saw, they're pretty within anyone's budget. You can literally from kind of £5 or £6 up to the pocket boys and them types of saws in the region of £30 to £40. We'll convert that into dollars. I don't think you need to go expensive on a saw. I think this is kind of mid-range, and I think these are ample enough. I mean, I can't fold it, it locks, it's a good lock up, it's solid. There are a few things that I look for in these saws, and one of them is the the blade steel. It's not a cheap blade steel, it's high carbon, it's a tool steel, which is what you want. And brilliant. So the benefits of having a saw over just having a hatchet, I suppose when you're cutting small saplings and limbs, it's probably the most respectful thing you can do. A nice clean cut. It doesn't look it doesn't look like people's been hacking off the bottom of trees in the forest, and that always gives kind of the bushcraft guy or the campers a bad name, and it's something that landowners don't like. Where a nice clean cut, you've taken the sapling that you need, you show the tree a bit of respect by giving it that clean cut. And of course it's a very energy efficient tool. The energy efficiency of being out kind of swinging and whacking and hammering like I have been with my my axe to limb trees, to chop that kind of wood would have taken me literally forever, and a lot of work. Where a saw, how big or how small is the real benefit. And if you are putting kit together, you don't need to be looking at this size of saw. This size will be adequate for you, just one of these folding saws, and look for the cheapest one you can, and you will see the benefits of it. But I think only you can really judge later on whether that is going to be part of your normal kit. But I would say it's a definite for wild camping, and they, like I say, they make life easy. Of course, you can cut smaller saplings with your knife, your bushcraft knife, and by simply bending the sapling and cutting down and then trimming it up, making it look half decent. But once again, the saw becomes such an energy efficient tool, and folds down to nothing, and they're great in your packs. You know, these are as good as any that I've used, you know, and I've used everything from Laplander to I had a Pocket Boy, and you know, I've kind of, you know, the blades have worn out on them and they've gone literally. In fact, the Pocket Boy, I had fellow bits, so I got rid of it. Where this, you know, is lasting at the moment, and my tools will always get used, and it just goes to show, you know, that if you're using the equipment a lot more than just having it for the weekend bushcrafter, then a lot of the you notice a lot of the tools then will get past the test of time, if you like. So yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check out the cutting edge, you know, CEuk saws. Like I say, great range of saws, and absolutely beautiful. Be a few more videos, you'll probably see a couple of these being used, you know, on a couple of camps coming up. I just filmed one back along, I just got to edit the video and I was using one of them saws in it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more of that. There's going to be more garden bushcraft projects coming up, and only because I've got plenty of wood to do them with now. So yeah, see you all on the next one.